All right, welcome back to our perspective. Last time we just got cut off in the middle. I apologize, but we want to continue our discussion talking about it appears that young people don't have any value for life. And I think, John, you were talking about the consequences that they don't really care. It appears, not all, but those that take lives.
What we talk about are things that are like just more prevalent in the news as far as young people go. And like I was saying, in my day, drugs was the drug of choice. Their drug of choice is social media. So they're going viral is important. I mean, it's safe spaces in that area. So I'm gonna back out of that about the viral and clout chasing and all that. Everybody want to be somebody in this day and age, and because of technology, it allows us to have a voice. Everybody can come out and say something about something. So I'll just stay on the topic of they don't respect life because they're unhappy, poor diet. You could just go on and on to what the reasons or what problem could be, or where it stems from, where it comes from, bad upbringing, poor choices, just on and on and on and on.
So our parents didn't have a manual on how to raise us. We didn't get a manual on how to raise our kids, and it just goes downhill. I will say this: the Bible is a manual on how to raise kids and how to, carry yourself in such a way that your kids will look up to you. But for all of the parents that, you sacrificed, you spent time talking and communicating with your child, holding your child responsible for their behavior, not trying to buy your child's love or be your child's friend. For all of you parents who have really sacrifice a whole lot to make sure that your kids not just had everything, but that they understood how to function in society. One thing I refuse to do with my kids is buy them name brand stuff, because that's so superficial. And plus they may not be able to afford it when I stop paying for it. So why would I set them up? They want name brand. They have to, work and buy name brand. And it's funny because my kids never bought themselves name brand stuff. So,
right. And that's one way to look at it. And I believe we haven't exhausted all our avenues. The Bible is one way, but there are other ways. And sometimes it's not even about the kid. It's about the parent. There's a lot of hurt parents bringing kids into the world and hurting them. Until you have went and got get your mental right, you probably shouldn't even try to embark on having kids. But kids are having kids, and these kids didn't have any values. Now, the thing we was coming up, and my mother is 17 years older than me, but she knew, hey, I need to be married. It was different things back then that helped us not go off the rails. Now all those things are not in place and just going off the rails. So I'm not a Bible person or church thinking church has all the answers, but it definitely didn't hurt to have the church in your life. It didn't hurt to have that. But no one live under that structure with seeing the world, unless you can keep them from the world and seeing all this stuff everybody else sees. That's where the problem lies, I believe. So everybody's going to be exposed no matter what. It's about loving them enough to send them out in the world and they get exposed, but they come back okay. And then you just got to get that, you got to wash that off of them and then reinforce your views and how you feel about life after they've seen when you couldn't go with them everywhere. So
I'll say I know parents are some are doing the best they can, and their kids are just rebellious and they're ungrateful and things like that. So I am by no means trying to discredit the work that's going on, especially with the single parents, whether it's a male that's a single parent or a female. I know that it's work. I know that it takes more. I was fortunate enough to have a husband in the picture to help me. So my kids grew up with their dad. So I'm not knocking anybody, but what I will say is that as parents, we have to put some work and some time in, and it requires some prayer and some guidance and some discernment on how you're going to handle the situations, because this is my perspective, if we don't pray and ask God for wisdom on how to handle certain things that our children do, we can fall prey to making the situation worse.
I believe that, but here's where we are now. Sensible people don't even want to have kids no more, and they're not having kids. It's the people that are taking the risk of being promiscuous having the kids. So a lot of bad decisions are just going to come out the gate on that. There's no planning going into it, in which I believe when they get here is God's work. I can say all that stuff, but it's going to take man's work to take care of them. And we're just missing the mark. Some of us are missing the mark. Right. And it's because of the bad decision to even have them in the first place. There was no decision at all. It just happened. Now, things can be prevented. And if you're not ready for something, you shouldn't have it, or you won't have it home.
Hey, that's real talk.
Yeah, you'll mess it up. And then you'll be sitting up here. The worst thing for me is if my kid hurts somebody else's kid. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And there's kids out here taking kids out of here, and now they don't have money for funeral. It's just so many effects that can come from that. And I just really, I know I'm jumping from one thing to another, but you told me a story and it touched me, and I just wanted you to share it about how when your daughter broke the law, you kind of showed her what she was headed for. If you wouldn't mind sharing that, could you share that for us?
Okay. So real quick, when my oldest was in high school, she stole the mail. Okay, she took her report card out of the mail and tried to hide it. And stealing mail is a federal offense. I explained it to her, sat her down, and I said, so since you want to commit federal offenses, let me show you how that's going to look. Go and take everything out of your room. And at this point, my kids had a lot. So she had to pull everything out of her room except a pencil, a book, and some paper. She had 3 uniforms that she was going to have to wear to school, and all she had was a cot to sleep on. She didn't even have a light bulb because she could only do what she had to do when it was daylight. So once it got night, like the like in prison, you go to bed when the lights turn off. And so that decision to, instead of hitting her, instead of fussing at her, instead of going crazy on her for trying to hide her report card, I just decided with some wisdom to show her what her behavior would lead to. And let me just say that I never had any more issues out of her or any of my girls, really, because they said, we don't never know what she gonna do. She always coming up with something, so. And
I love you for that, because when I heard you tell me that, I'm like, wow, you really, that's outside of the box of the norm.
Yeah.
But it was cost effective. It didn't cost you anything to do that.
Right.
And if you don't mind, how old is she now? I know she might need.
She's 32. She's 32 now.
She's 32 now. Now, is she an upstanding citizen or not?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
absolutely. It's so funny to see all of my girls are just, they're lovable, and I'm not. Trust me, God be the glory on that.
But all kids go through a sneaky phase when they do sneaky stuff and think you can't see them. I can see you.
Yeah.
Your sneaky is no good. I mean, my mom always could. She knew when I was lying. I had my poker face was terrible, and my kids' poker face is even worse. So
let me tell you this: let me tell you this, because I think that if we don't start back getting in tune with our kids, then we're gonna miss a lot of opportunities where it could be teachable moments. And it anyway.
I just wish
I had a lot of teachable moments with my girls. So
I just wish that part could go viral, because how many people would say, you know, I've done similar stuff, you know, like I know that my cousin Yuri, he took his kids down the main street, which is where a lot of people sleep outside, and they got to see how other people live as opposed to how they live.
Absolutely. You know? Yeah, I did that too. I took my daughter to the residential treatment facility that I worked at, and let her see this is where kids go that are disrespectful and don't want to listen to their parents. They end up in places like this. I took her to the actual institution and told her if she want, I can just, you know, leave her here. And she can figure out all of the stuff. You go in there and talk to the people and all of that, but I'm not tolerating the not listening and all of that. That's
You don't mix the water till the well runs dry.
Right.
You don't know how good you got it right here, because you could be right here. Right. You know, they might got ice cream, but they got all that other stuff that go along with that ice cream.
Hello. They got people telling them what they can eat, when they can eat, when they can sleep, and all that. But I just think, I'm glad that we had this conversation. I just think that at some point, you know, maybe we can just share our experiences and what we've learned along the way that might be able to help somebody else. So that was my goal, even though it is frustrating to see the disrespect that I see in some cases. But I will say this, the parents are doing the best they can, and unfortunately, there's no direction, and unfortunately, we may not have the fathers in the home, or a mother, because there's some fathers in the home and the mother is not there. And so when that happens, the kids are missing out, you know, they're missing nurturing, or they're missing the sternness, or what the man provides. He's supposed to provide a whole lot of stuff, but they're missing out on either one if both of them are not in the home. And then if the parents are going at it with, you know, the husband and wife going at it, that's not good either. So it's just, I think we need to go back to praying and seeking God on how to handle our kids, because our kids are not perfect, and neither are we.
Or at least go to God and maybe not criticize these kids so hard, that who had it hard and we don't understand them, and we don't have a feeling about how they feel, and just pray for them individually, that they get their life together, and that God will put his hands over them and protect them from themselves, because they're the worst enemy right now. And like I said, the jocking for likes and the social media and that drug, the phone. The phone is the biggest drug going right now. I know, because we on it right now. So to talk about something like that, we use it to get information out. They use it to take information and go do bad things to people. So, you know, we just got to figure out how we're going to work with this system.
Right.
Because system, and we got to figure out how to work within this system.
Absolutely. Well, look, our time is up, and I really do appreciate your perspective. And you said something really important, and that is to pray for these young people and the single parents, and you know, the family as a whole. We just need to pray. And I do, but I will make it my business when I see something that really is frustrating and rude and disrespectful, that I will take the time, just because you said that. I'm going to take the time, and instead of cringing, I want to take the time to pray for that family, that young person, or that mother. So yeah, or both. I'm going to take the time to pray. So yes.
One quick thing. If you see John Sells in your TikTok or in your comments saying, I'm gonna pray for you in His name. God, I really did just pray for you, as opposed to leaving a bad comment over some silly stuff you posted. So I mean genuinely, everybody don't want people paying for them. You got to be careful who you let pray for you, but it's harmless. Believe me, I'm just praying that whatever that was, in Jesus' name, I love this. And please leave a comment. I mean, it doesn't take anything to leave a comment. If you like it, don't like it, all criticism is accepted.
Yeah, as you can see, it's your perspective, right?
Right. I don't read the comments, but I would like to see them in there. Start reading. You might help me out. I might start reading, actually reading.
Okay. Yeah. And we do encourage you to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We do upload our videos every Monday. So thank you so much for watching. We look forward to our show next week. So
happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to everybody.
Happy Labor Day. Yes. And thank you so much for listening to Our Perspective. God bless.